Christopher Dines' Drug Addiction Recovery Book Launch Party at Nomad Books. So, Drug Addiction Recovery was published today in the UK by Sheldon Press, and the full word is by Rudolph E. Tansey, Professor of Neurology at Harvard Medical School. Drug Addiction Recovery will also be published in America and Canada on the 3rd of September this year. Christopher Dines is an educator of mindfulness and has already published 7 books in his career so far. And in Drug Addiction Recovery, the synopsis reads this. Healing during recovery from addiction can be an intensely painful process as decades of frozen grief are unpacked. This book is written to help all work through the causes of old wounds, including bereavement, abandonment, betrayal, and abuse. Christopher Dines uses effective mindfulness practices to complement long-term recovery and help process sometimes overwhelming feelings. Mindfulness is also recognised as a powerful tool in relapse prevention. Interspersed with personal reflection from the author's own experience, Drug Addiction Recovery suggests ways to come to terms with the past and live peacefully in the present. Topics include the nature of addiction, associated addictive or dysfunctional behaviours, why we need to grieve, mindfulness and the brain, coping with depression, shame and alienation, guided meditations, written and verbal exercises and recovery stories. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Christopher Dines.
Okay, so firstly I'd like to thank everyone for coming down and for being here. I really appreciate that. And I'd like to thank those who couldn't make it tonight as well, who've sent their warm regards and best wishes. I'm in recovery myself. I got clean in 2004, so I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I don't use drugs as well. One day at a time, I'm a recovering drug addict. But I also am codependent as well, and I have other addictive behaviours which I've had to address. So drug addiction recovery really it's got hardly anything to do with drugs, so to speak. It's really about addressing the emotional wounds and going deep within and addressing frozen grief and trauma, and having an opportunity to process those feelings. So there are various different exercises and some stories in there as well. But I'd like to thank Rudolph E. Tansey as well from Harvard for writing the foreword. And also Peter Kyle as well, who's a Member of Parliament for Hove, his endorsements on the back of the book. Really, I couldn't have done this without all the support that I've had. It really is a team effort. I'd like to thank Sheldon Press and Fiona Marshall. She had to leave, but she basically she was the one behind getting this book published. Now, there have been sort of peaks and troughs as well. It hasn't been plain sailing. So publishing this book has really taught me about the practice of persistence. So the book was published it was signed last summer. It was due to come out in January by Sheldon Press. And Sheldon Press used to be owned by Speck, which formed in the 1600s. So I had it in my mind, right, the release date's going to be in January. And then Sheldon Press was acquired by Hachette UK, so I had to push the date back. And so it hasn't been plain sailing, but it's worthwhile. And my deepest hope is that you'll gain value from the book. And once again, just thank you so much for being here. Recovery is possible one day at a time. Emotional well-being is possible one day at a time. So all the best to you, and many thanks. Thank
I would say it's nice big print, which is great because it helps me my glasses.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm looking for
Thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I've got you.
Fulham, Chelsea, Pimlico. No, I just know because it's very. Yeah.
Yeah.